Yo guys, what is up? Max in our first Descendant video, and today we're going over Hotfix 1.0.7. This is a pretty massive quality of life patch notes. We're going to be going over everything that you need to know in the video. Real quick, my throat is slightly infected, so I might sound a little off, but I wanted to break down everything you guys need to know. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get right into it. All right, so let's get into these changes. The first one is that if you do not select abort or continue during an interim review in special operations, abort will be selected automatically. This is a pretty cool change because I quite literally saw a Reddit post about this the other day. Someone complaining about this, that like, you know, if you're doing a mission and someone's AFK, you have to wait the full time for them to just like kind of make their decision. So now they will just be automatically aborted, which is really nice quality of life and kind of get rid of some of those AFK farmers. Next up, they lower the difficulty of Frostwalker through like a multiple means. Destroying frenzy parts will now generate 2 embers. Increase the maximum threshold of the frenzy gauge, reducing the number of times the Colossus becomes frenzied. So it's going to go into its immune phase less often, meaning that you should have more time to be able to do damage to it. And when you're using slug shots to frenzy the Colossus, its legs movements will be reduced, making it easier to aim at its weak points. So we just went in and tested those changes. I did one quick run on Frostwalker in a pub match. It took us about a minute to kill Frostwalker. He definitely seems a lot easier. He was dropping embers like crazy. And this note about using slug shots, I think it's just a slight mistranslation. I believe what they mean is referring to the ammo type of Crush. Crush is an ammo type. You can find it on like LMG weapons, such as the Enduring Legacy, which now makes it like a best in slot weapon for Frostwalker. But if we look at, for example, Frostwalker's actual weaknesses, if we go to his destructible parts, his knees are susceptible to Crush type. When I would shoot Frostwalker with my Enduring Legacy, he would kind of stop moving. And this is the destructible part while frenzied. It's susceptible to Crush type. So I think that like Crush Slug is just a slight mistranslation, and they're talking about Crush ammo type. Next up, characters will no longer receive damage when they're in hazardous zones, which is pretty nice. This basically, like, for example, if you kill Swamp Walker, you could leave poison on the ground, or you could kill Molten Fortress, they would leave lava on the ground, and sometimes that could kill you, which is pretty unfortunate, especially if you were on, like, your last life. They say this here, when Molten Fortress and Swamp Walker are defeated, their lava is removed, their disease status effect was removed, so it should be easier once you kill the boss just to go get your loot and not have to, like, die. Next up, they updated the restart function of Void Intercept battles, special operations, and infiltration operations. So now you can have the option to start with your current squad. This is basically allowing you to restart the mission that you just did with the people you just did it with. The restart mission is just basically to put you in a new queue to do it if you didn't like your team, or like you didn't complete the mission, you want to try with different people, and then you can also always leave. They also extended the restart and the start with squad. Start with squad is 60 seconds, and the restart mission has no time limit. This is just pretty nice quality of life. It was really weird that you only had like 30 seconds to restart the mission. A lot of times you'd miss it and like have to go back or like start it from your like inventory. So the fact that they made restart mission basically an infinite timer is very nice quality of life. Next up for the field, the Echo Swamp Derelict Covert Void Fragment Toxic monsters will now spawn faster. I plan on checking that out as a potential farming spot. We'll see. The HP of monsters and the Void Fusion Reactors have been reduced, and they now drop ammo and recovery orbs when you defeat them. I've been hearing that the Void Fusion Reactor bosses are now like very easy to kill. Pretty squishy. They shouldn't be giving you much of an issue. I don't like mind this change. I thought their HP was fine, except for a few of them that were outliers that had a ton of HP. The bigger issue was that they just didn't have anywhere to get ammo on them. And so if you wanted to kill multiple fusion reactor bosses, you basically had to like leave and go get ammo in order to kill one of them and then go get more ammo. So the chance that now that they drop ammo and you kill them and recovery orbs is fantastic. I don't think their HP of all of them needed to be nerfed, which it sounds like they did, but they should be easier to kill and easier to farm now. Next up, we've got Battle Pass changes. There's a lot of changes here. Mainly, they're reducing the grind needed for the Battle Pass and reducing the difficulty of weekly challenges for Battle Pass Week 7 and 8. They're going to make it easier to get these supply coins so that you can get those special rewards from the battle pass. But the real interesting thing here, and kind of one of my complaints, comes with this third paragraph. We're currently in the process of adjusting the difficulty of season 1 challenges based on our experience with the preseason. Compared to the preseason, you'll be able to complete challenges more naturally as you farm items, reducing the burden of additional grinding. We're also in the process of increasing the value of rewards you get from the battle passes. That was my big complaint with the first battle pass that we got. The rewards in it just weren't all that interesting or good. So it sounds like we're actually going to be getting a pretty solid battle pass for season 1. Fingers crossed for that. Next up, we've got some UI changes, specifically when it comes to the infiltrations. Now, when you do these, you can just click like select all, and then you don't have to reselect every single time. They also removed the you cannot use your grapple and you cannot jump options, so you'll never see those. You still like can get like increased grapple recharge time, and sprint being disabled is still a thing, but they've removed no grapple and no jump entirely, which is fantastic. And they also talk about a lot of changes that they plan to bring for these. So now you can check the tooltip of amorphous material icons in the change selectable reward screen in hard infiltration operations. And the director's comment: as your characters become stronger, more and more people have been choosing additional options over the 200% in hard infiltration operations. However, if you choose additional options as you cannot begin matchmaking, it becomes difficult as you have to gather party members on chat and communities instead. Therefore, we're currently trying to improve our matchmaking system so you can easily play together, even if when you select additional options. Specifically, additional options will be changed to presets, and you'll be able to gather a party depending on the percentage of presets you choose. Furthermore, to increase the matchmaking pool, we're planning to allow everyone to enter an infiltration operation together, no matter which amorphous material they choose. We're also planning to change the mission in hard infiltration operations from occupation to extermination. We hope you enjoy co-op more easily and experience fast and exciting combat and farming. These changes for hard infiltration operations will be applied in Season 1. So basically what they're saying is right now, it's really hard to find like groups to play with because you can't go public with specific modifiers. But now, or starting in Season 1, instead of it having to be like the exact modifiers basically to matchmake you, it's going to be like, does he have 4 modifiers on or 2 modifiers on? It sounds like it's going to be more preset. Maybe there'll be options to pick from in difficulty, like a 200, 210, 230 kind of deal. Or maybe it'll just be the amount of options you select. And you'll be able to play with people of any amorphous in that dungeon. So if you're doing like the odd or the even, it won't matter. All fantastic changes, but one of the biggest ones is the fact that they're going to be removing the occupations. Those are the ones where you're like standing in a circle waiting for it to charge, which is just really boring and doesn't keep up with the fast-paced gameplay that this game caters to. So they're going to be changing all of those to extermination type missions. So you're just going to have to kill the enemies in the area and then you get to move on. This should dramatically decrease the time to do these dungeons, or maybe you're just gonna have to be killing things for longer, but they should make the dungeons feel better and more rewarding and more easy to play with people. Such an amazing change there. Next up, they did some massive changes to the like UI of items. I'll show you that right now. So now on items, like for example, my Greg's Reverse Fate, it's very clearly that I've fully ranked this, but I can also tell the like rolls that it drops with. So for example, if you just are looking through your inventory, you'll be able to see, oh, like this weapon dropped with 3 gold substats. I should probably check out what it rolled on it, which is going to be very, very nice. They did the same thing for components and reactors. So now I can tell if, for example, this is a this little icon means that this is a set purple and not just a normal purple. So they've done some pretty huge UI changes. But the really exciting thing is what they mentioned coming in for Season 1. While not included in Hotfix 1.0.7, we're also preparing additional quality of life features that can help you farm more easily. For instance, you'll be able to assign different symbols to the attached items. The junk filter will also let you filter items with specific options as junk. The dev team is hard at work to make your farming experience easier. So, for example, I'm assuming this means that, for example, like if you get a reactor with increased damage to like the Legion faction, or you're just farming for your toxic characters, you'll be able to filter out things that are like increased fire damage or damage when attacking Order of Truth. This will let you more easily just filter out things. I still think it'd be really cool to just get something that lets you auto dismantle things on the ground. Like, I don't even want them to go into my inventory. I prefer if I'm just like walking around, and auto dismantling things would be really cool. Like auto dismantling all purples that don't have at least 2 gold stats or something like that. But the fact that they're adding that already is already very nice. Next up, they added quality of life to be able to see where some of these combine only modules are from. I still haven't been able to get myself a shield collector. And so now it'll be more easy to like look them up. For example, if we go to our access modules, type in shield collector. Now, before it would say nothing, now it says available only by combining modules. So if you're like looking for some of those mods and confused on where to get them, that should help. Next up, in the consumables menu of the library, you can now see the amount of consumables you currently have. That is specifically referencing this amorphous material screen. This is a screen that would just display if you had encountered these amorphous materials, which wasn't really helpful. Now it'll like specifically say, oh, I have 4 of these. So it's a lot easier to see like if you've got a surplus of something, where you can go open them and go use them. So huge improvement there. I was actually quite frustrated with that screen before. They added some additional things for the lost and found. When unique abilities of an ultimate weapon permanently change the weapon's default performance, you can now check the changes on the basic info screen. Next up, we got some Eugen buffs. They fixed his like recovery skill tooltip so that it matches the improvements made to his recovery in Hotfix 1.0.7. And by overhauling his recovery skill formula, they also they buffed his like skill level 4 healing. So that's pretty nice. You now also gain weapon proficiency when you defeat enemies with unique weapons like Luna's stage presence. This was my biggest complaint about Luna, is that if you used her, you couldn't level up your weapons, which is just kind of a big pain in the butt. And they also made it so you can acquire Luna's noise surge modification from Executioner. This was previously only able to be acquired through Gluttony. It was the hardest boss in the game. So players that wanted to properly play Luna, or not properly play her, but use her as a DPS, couldn't get that unless they could reasonably kill Gluttony a bunch of times. So now that's a lot easier to get. With the director's comment saying, try using Luna and her noise surge to increase weapon proficiency, defeat enemies with sound of music, and fall for her charm. Next up, with Descendants, we've got some changes to Thrill Bomb, which was not hitting enemies properly when you were using high voltage. Good change there. They fixed an issue where Luna was dancing while holding her gun when she used an enhanced skill with the Noise Surge module. They did some changes to her facial graphics. Fixed an issue where Sharon could cancel her skill mouse right-click controller LT even after she fired her flash short sword skill during ending motions. They fixed an issue where equipping a range mod on Lepic would not like display properly, that it would be increasing the range, and fix an issue where equipping a range module would not expand the effect of Lepic's traction grenade. This isn't like actually changing the way the traction grenade was working. It's just making it more easy to understand that it does get range, and it'll display that it's getting that range. So good changes there, a little bit easier to build around. It seems like there was an issue with the Acrobat set for its 4-piece bonus. It was displaying skill critical hit rate, but it should have been displaying firearm critical hit rate. So that now becomes a pretty solid set for firearms. Before it was kind of like a mix set, but now I think it's a little bit more focused to using guns, which is cool. And they fixed an issue where like 2 people could use midair maneuvering at the same time to remove parts on Colossuses. Pretty interesting there. I never saw people like exploiting that, but good to know. Next up, there was an issue where the void fragments of all 4 kinds was changed from 433 to 333. It should be like 3 of all of them. So like slight little nerf / correction there, but now you'll be earning equal amounts of all of the void fragments. So we get some mission changes. There's a few not super meaningful changes here, but the biggest one is that they fixed the Haven, which was basically impossible to get max score on. Now they fixed an issue where it was impossible to reach a perfect score even when increasing options to 240%. I've heard that like even at like 220%, it's now pretty easy to get like max score on the Haven, which is great. Good change there. And lastly, they teased the next Descendant that is going to be coming out on the August 30th Season 1 launch. They say that this is a new Descendant who is armed with Cold Fury and ready to strike. What do you think is her greatest strategy? There's been some speculation on who this is. Let me know who you guys think this is. It might be a character that's in the game right now. It could be totally brand new. But it looks like they're carrying some sort of sniper slash railgun slash like anti-material rifle. It looks absolutely massive. I'm assuming they're probably gonna have a like 4 ability that whips this thing out and does like some big damage explosion shot. Looks really cool, and very excited for our next Descendant. I'm really curious on what the next Ultimate Descendant is. I'm guessing that it's either going to be Ultimate Freyna or Ultimate Blair. It kind of depends on if they're going to be rotating between male and female Ultimate Descendants. Obviously, we just got Ultimate Valby, which means it could be like Ultimate Blair, who I'd guess would be the male that would get it. But if it's not Ultimate Blair, then I really want Ultimate Freyna, because I really just want Freyna to be as best as she can be. She's one of my favorite characters, and I'm hoping for an Ultimate version to buff her up a fair bit. Guys, that is going to do it for the video. Let me know your thoughts on these changes, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.